In every profession or area of expertise, there are always best practices that keep changing or evolving over time. And in this channel today, we are focusing more on HR skills practices and how best HR professionals can be able to update their skills to what is currently trending or evolving in that space. My name is Mary Amondo, in charge of training and career advisory services. And as usual, I am joined by our CEO, Mr. Paminas, who is also a lead HR consultant in this area. And he's going to help us unpack some of the best ways as a HR professional you can be able to update your skills so that you are at par with the emerging trends in the industry. Thank you so much for joining me once again.
Thank you, Mary.
Great.
Yeah.
The question is, what are some of the emerging trends or changes in HR practices that signal the need for HR professionals to enhance their skill sets?
Yeah. So, Mary, thank you for that question. So, just like any other profession, the HR profession is also evolving, with the times. If I look at 5 years ago, whatever we were practicing and now, there have been so many changes. And I would say, if I can pinpoint the foremost changes that I've seen happen is number one, the aspect of digital transformation. Just like we've seen in the transport industry, we have the Ubers, we have the Bolt of this world. So even HR now, we are looking at a lot of the processes that we do being automated. So we are talking about data analytics, and to be more specific, there's what we call HR analytics. We are also talking about a lot of the processes being online, even now, cloud computing, when it comes to HR processes. So that's number one in terms of data. Number two is since COVID, we're talking about now hybrid and even remote working. So how do you manage a team that works remotely or where you have a hybrid arrangement? Yeah. Number three is on the issue of developing leaders. And again, because of all these changes that are happening, how do you get the best out of people? And so the way we read, people are putting a spotlight into how we read and who's best placed into making sure that the leaders are empowered. It starts with the HR department. Yeah. And lastly, it's the issue of ethics and compliance. So the days are long gone where it was top-bottom, where you could step down on employee rights, you could do your own things. You can't do that anymore. So indeed, there are many issues when it comes to ethics and compliance. Yeah, so from where I sit, I would say those are the four issues: the digital transformation, ethics, and compliance. Then there's the leadership aspect, and let's not forget about the remote working and the hybrid also system. Yeah.
And this makes it really key for HR professionals to advance or enhance their skill set.
Yes, I believe anyone in HR who wants to succeed, you have to keep up with the times. Yeah.
So maybe someone is watching an HR professional and they're wondering, how can they be able to assess their current skill level and even identify specific areas where they may need to update their knowledge and expertise?
I would say it starts with you. So one thing I would recommend is self-reflection. So if you've been in this industry, let's say for the last 10 years, you've seen all these changes. So ask yourself, are you up to date? So as we say here in Kenya, unajita kamkutano. So every month you ask yourself, what have you done towards making sure you're up to date with your career? Yeah, so that's number one. Number two, skills gap analysis. So if you're applying for jobs and you've not been getting interviews, it's a high time you look at what the employer are asking for out there in the market, through the job advert versus what you have. So if you find that you're deficient in one or two areas, then it's a high time for you to go for that short course. I'll give you an example. You cannot be a HR manager and you're not good with what you call HR analytics. You must have a good understanding of numbers. You must talk the business language. So if you've never done this, and it's HR analytics has been with us for, say, 4 to 5 years, then you can see you are really missing out. Yeah. The other thing you can do, Mary, is industry benchmarking. Yeah. So for example, for you to practice as a HR professional, you must have a license. And that means you've gone through some form of training, and IHRM, that's the body that governs the HR profession, they've even looked at your character. Yeah. So for example, for me, I can be a HR consultant, and the firm that I represent, Corporate Staffing, we are registered with IHRM, we have practicing license. So that's an industry standard. So you cannot go qualify. You say you're very good in HR, but you don't have a practicing license. Yeah. Because what does a practicing license mean? It means, Mary, you can come as an employer and say, Pamina's gave me the wrong advice. And because of this, I got into a loss, or someone has sued me. And indeed, I too can be taken to task because of that. So it is able to professionalize the business. Yeah. So there are some demands that the industry will have, and it's for you to make sure that you meet those demands. The other bit is, I mentioned this, goes hand in hand with the skills gap analysis, is where you adopt, a continuous learning. Why? Because learning does not just happen in the classroom. Yeah. Today, as opposed to 5 years ago, we have a lot of resources that we can really tap into. For example, this channel is just 1 year old, where we come and teach you, how to excel as a HR professional. So why don't you subscribe, and you'll be getting updates, and you'll be able to learn from me. And I'm sure if you even leave a comment with a question, I'll also be able to learn from you in a way. So look at either learning through such platforms, blogs, YouTube channels, or even learning from your other peers, your colleagues, peers in the industry, or even other related industries. For example, let's say you don't find yourself very confident, public speaking is an issue that you have, and you find someone who's quite eloquent and confident. You can ask them, how do they go about it, Yeah, so there's a lot of learning you can do. It can be, it need not be classroom setup. Some of it needs to be. So adopt that continuous learning mentality, and I believe that will make a very big difference.
Great.
Yeah.
So in order to be able to know that it is time to level up my skills in the HR space, or in the HR industry, skills gap analysis has really stood out for me, because I believe that's one of the key areas that most professionals overlook.
Yes, and there's a high probability that, and especially when you get into a comfort zone. The other day, in fact yesterday, I'm very passionate about digital marketing, and just someone reached out to me, and they asked a question which is related to something that is new, and it's not something I hadn't taken notice. So when I went to research, I found, wow, there's also this thing that has happened, and I need to be up to date, and I've actually started working on it. Yeah.
Great. So every day we learn.
Every day we learn, yeah, sure.
Great. Thank you so much for creating time to share with us.
Thank you too.
It is indeed important for every professional to do skills gap analysis, or even industry benchmarking, to get to know, because that will help you to know whether it's really time for me to level up my skill sets in my area of expertise. And Corporate Staffing Services, we offer quite a number of professional courses that can help you hone your skills or build your capacity to ensure you are at par with what is currently trending in, or some of the best practices in that space. We look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Feel free to click on the link below, and also share on the comment section how your own experience has been. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.